Thanks for choosing us for your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Now, there are over 100 military personnel deployed to various water bodies in a renewed effort to clamp down on illegal mining activities, locally known as Galamsey. Well, this follows growing agitation from over 50 state, private, civil organizations urging government to address the environmental devastation caused by illegal mining, which has severely affected the country's water bodies, farmlands and forests. Now, to combat the ongoing menace, President Akufo-Addo yesterday directed the Minister for Defense to deploy additional military forces to strengthen Operation Halt. The ongoing initiative is aimed at eradicating illegal mining activities. Now, a team is currently in the eastern region to enforce this directive. We'll cross over to my colleague Max Agaba shortly, who is embedded with this team. But first, the University Teachers Association of Ghana has voted overwhelmingly in favor of declaring an industrial action in support of the nationwide ban on mining and prospecting for minerals in forest reserves, farms and rivers in a referendum conducted by the National Independent Electoral Committee. 77.95% of the members voted yes, and for the motion, and 2,153 voted for that yes. That is out of the 2,776 vote cast. And on your screens now is that statement from UTAG, basically just giving us updates on that meeting and the outcome of that meeting. Is dated October 2nd, 2024. Now, it says that the NIEC has collated the results of the voting from 15-member branches on the motion, quote, should the NEC of UTAG declare an industrial action in support of the nationwide ban on mining and prospecting for gold and other minerals in forest reserves, farms and rivers. Well, it goes on to say that a total of 2,762 members across the 50-member branches cast their votes. Out of this, 2,153, representing 77.95% of the total vote cast, voted yes for the motion, while 607, representing 21.98% of the total vote cast, voted no against the motion. Now, they also go on to say that 2 members, representing 0.07% of the total vote, voted to abstain. Now, therefore, they have declared that this motion would be carried. Now, if that strike take effect today, and we would be touching base with our correspondents on the ground as we look at the impact of this strike. We'll also take you to the eastern region. My colleague Max Agaba is on the ground. We told you that the Ghana armed forces have deployed additional men on the ground to halt the activities of illegal mining. We'll take you there shortly as well. But the Ghana Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, they are warning that illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey, is severely impacting the country's nutrition. Speaking at the 9th Nutrition Conference, President of the Academy, Professor Kingsley Kojo Asare-Preko, highlighted the leaching of chemicals from Galamsey operation into water bodies, which is affecting the quality of fish, food, crops, and land used for agricultural production. There's more in this report.
Speaking at the 9th Nutrition Conference that offered a rallying grounds to think about the development of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, President of the Ghana Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, Professor Kingsley Kojo Asare-Preko, bemoaned how Galamsey is affecting the food crops the country depends on.
The outcome of this conference, basically, one is to come up with a position on the state of our nutrition in the changing world, and importantly also to bring up evidence that could also guide policy discussions and programming for nutrition in Africa. Right, the Galamsey has a lot to do on our nutrition. First of all, there's some leaching of these chemicals that are used in this business of Galamsey into our water bodies that affects our fish, that affects our land, that affects the production that we get from in our foods. It is very important that we stop this matter now to save the future. Importantly, its effect on our water bodies is something that is very, very alarming. Very few people can grapple with buying water from imported water. Even what we are producing in this country, we find it difficult to buy. And so this aspect of this destruction that is happening on our water bodies is something that we should be very concerned because these chemicals that are used in mining also have very debilitating effect on children, most especially mothers, and also on our well-being. Its effect we can see in the changing in the changing situations that we have in our time. People dying before their time, the surge in non-communicable diseases could all be attributed to that. Children who are born out of deformities are all situations that we are grappling with because of some of these challenges that Galamsey brings to us. Right? I will appeal to the government to be very firm in stopping the Galamsey menace now to save us a lot in the future that is ahead of us.
Speaking on behalf of the Vice Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Professor Martin Eko spoke about the challenges posed by climate change and challenged the scientists to do more.
It is important to iterate that we stand at a critical juncture in our global food systems. In today's rapidly changing world, our food systems face unprecedented challenges. The challenges posed by climate change, rapid urbanization, economic instability, public health crisis, and shifting dietary patterns necessitate a transformative approach to nutrition.
Let's stay on illegal mining now. A group of office holders from small political parties are prevailing on political parties to commit to a pact that binds them in supporting the military in cracking down on illegal mining activities in the country. Now, the group, which include members of the CPP, the PPP and the GCPP, made the demand at a press conference in Kumasi. Let's take you there live. Nana Asiedu is on the ground for us. Nana, what else came up at this meeting?
Demanding that as part of measures being put in place by government to curb illegal mining, all political parties, including the major political parties, that's the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress, commit to a national pact immediately. Well, they say that if the military is being deployed to these forest reserves as part of efforts to curb the illegal mining activities, it would not yield results until political parties, especially two major political parties, sign a pact which will bind them in supporting government efforts in curbing the canker. And so today at the press conference in Kumasi, as part of their demands, they want an immediate pact to be put forward by the organized labor and even by any other organization that needs it right or sees it right to have this Galamsey issue resolved. And so they want a national pact. Also, they want the immediate revocation of the legislative instruments that allows mining in forest reserves. Although government has said that it is part of measures being put in place to curb illegal mining activities, they want it to be done immediately. The first thing that should be done when Parliament reviews. And also they are saying that government should put the hold in the issuance of licenses which allows people to continue with small-scale mining or any other mining activity whatsoever.
Thank you, Nana Asiedu, joining us live from Kumasi. Well, the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners, they are imploring on government to restrict the importation of shanghaiing machines as part of solutions to halt mining in rivers. Now, the group believes restricting the supply of the main components in boat building will restrict the dredging of river bodies for gold. General Secretary for the Small-Scale Miners, Godwin Armour, says this should go alongside the deployment of security forces to rid rivers of illegal miners. Nana Yaujima takes a look at the role Shanghai plays in the dredging of rivers for gold.
The conversation for adoption of effective measures to protect the country's rivers has heightened as some major rivers record higher turbidity levels from Galamsey activities. Aside from the washing of mining waste in rivers, some recalcitrant miners continue to dredge rivers for gold. Thus, the sound of the Shamfan engines, hence its popular name Tututu. The equipment mainly consists of barrels held together by steels which allow the wooden platform on which the engines are mounted to float on water. On top of the boat-like machine are compartments that aid the washing of the sand dredged from the river. The waste from the sand dredged from the river is deposited back into the river, leading to pollution.
We used to pump water from the pier to water our crops, but with the advent of illegal mining, we can no longer use water from the river. Our crops die when we use the polluted water from the pier river. My farm is just at the edge of the river, but I have to fetch water 2 miles from my farm to water the crops. This is where the whole mafia town used to fetch water for daily chores, but now we can't.
In 2021, the government waged war on dredgers with inauguration of a task force to lead the charge. Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, George Mekuduka, revealed steps are being taken to illegalize the construction of Shamfan boats.
And make sure if you are assembling or manufacturing a Shamfan machine, you are apprehended. Let me also say that this also doesn't give room for people to go out there to extort.
3 years on, the machines continue to float on rivers, wreaking havoc. With the heightened conversation about the destruction of water bodies by illegal miners, Mr. Ama emphasized the need to restrict importation of the Shamfan engines which power the boats.
And they should restrict the importation of this Shamfan machine. You have one Chinese importing over thousands of them into this country. Once we know that these Shamfans, 90% will end up on our water bodies. What are we doing about it? So as part of the long-term solutions, we should start restricting the number of this equipment that are coming into the country. Once you restrict it, they will not have access to it. And those who have license to get them, you get them. So every district, you have 2 outlets. These outlets, you can manage them properly. Then the wholesale, wherever you go, you see huge Chinese importers of these dredges, and they are all over.
The Ghana Water Company continues to record higher turbidity of some rivers, warning of potential water shortages. It has therefore become necessary for illegal mining activities destroying rivers to be halted. For Joy News, Nanaya Jima Kumasi.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Police Service has come under strong public criticism after the Minerals Commission boss revealed he had notified the police about illegal mining activity which went on behind the Ainam police station. Erastus Asiedu was at that area. Here's what he found.
There are indications illegal mining has gone on about 200 meters behind the Ainam police station. Just some 5-minute walk from the police station, illegal miners have redirected the course of the Brim River. Many of the residents are worried about the impunity with which illegal miners have taken over water resources in the community. One of them, who was willing to speak, shared his frustrations with us.
This is Ainam, and behind me is the Ainam police station. Now, this is what has become the subject of discussion of late. Behind this police station, about 200 meters, you will find an illegal mining site, which looks abandoned. But ahead of me, that is ahead of the Ainam police station, about 100 meters from here, there are a lot of mining sites, illegal mining sites, lining the Brim River, which is just here to this direction. So I'm going to go over there and we're going to film and show you the number of mining sites we have ahead of the Ainam police station.
Enfra gallon, te biase auto put and ko is a fool. Enye e ma abano so enemy eguase. E wo sene man ho. Ti me de se e ka me nko na se ne ko mo ti chafan fo no na sin so no mo. Ana ayi fo no so akra enema ba ayi fo se chana fo no akra enema ba am okọ train station na chi ho no omoton se ho niema e chafan fo no. Ti me de se ka me nko anka aban gram se ni bia me so le betu nso so bia mo nkunu wonche no no e ofan kotum.
On the inaction of the police, despite the proximity of the illegality to the law enforcement agency, he said the commander cannot act without the backing of the chief of the town.
Zinobetimi eto na mankopokora no a ebia no pani wo hin bi esa hyase ba ha nti obepmap mo a na emwe nti metaka se ni teacher na tintin yan se sadia se bi ohin eto na mo ebe che commander se na atomi dia e ma commander so hoden e ma wo so atusa ni be commander betimi to na mo na ohin na ede hyase e ma na manfo e adwuma no e ma sa no se bi onu kwa se bi onu kwa na se bi oya bakofo ayemman ana se bi onu commander so no nko a opimpim mo ere emwe ni so ohin no an support no dia wo de na hoden ntimi anya hwe.
Few days ago, you could see that there were a number of champagne machines working and operating here by the Brim River. Now you can see the nature of the river as it flows over here, prevented by a number of champagne machines which sit on it over there. Now the place has been cleared, but that is the Kumasi Accra Road. And that is the Enyinem Bridge over the Brim River. And the pollution has gone on for months under the direct watch of the police.
The result of the unchecked illegality at Enyinem is the highly polluted Brim flowing along the main Kumasi Accra Road. Time will tell whether these champagne operators are really gone. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Enyinem, Eastern Region.
You're still watching Joy News today. We're taking a break. When we return, we'll take you all the way to the Eastern Region, where the Ghana Armed Forces have deployed extra military personnel to ensure they halt the activities of illegal mining. Do stay tuned in. Thanks for staying with us. Now, the Ghana Boundary Commission has revealed that it has reaffirmed 350 kilometers of the country's land boundary with Togo, targeting more than 100 kilometers of work before the year ends. Speaking at a joint meeting between the Ghana Boundary Commission and the Togo Boundary Commission in the Togolese capital, Lomé, Commissioner General of the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Emmanuel Nketia, said reaffirmation exercises are important for maintaining security along Ghana's internal and international borders.
The Ghana Boundary Commission works to ensure that Ghana's land, maritime and air boundaries are effectively secured and managed. The meeting in Togo brought together personnel from the Ghana Boundary Commissions of Togo and Ghana. The main objective of the meeting was the continuation of the reaffirmation exercise on the international land boundary line between Ghana and Togo. Speaking at the opening ceremony, Commissioner General of the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Emmanuel Nketia, revealed that the Ghana Boundary Commission has reaffirmed 350 kilometers of the country's land boundary with Togo, targeting more than 100 kilometers of work before the year ends.
So far, as I mentioned, we have done about 350 kilometers of reaffirmation. We've gone through 4 phases. It has been a long way, and the tanker teams are well prepared to continue with the exercise starting from tomorrow if possible. Envisaging that we'll come up with timelines when at least we should have some a distance of not less than 200 kilometers reaffirmed by the end of the year. We also, the second part is that we also want the construction of the boundary pillars to resume by the Togolese contractor, and then the Ghana contractor also start the construction of the boundary place from 150 kilometers up north. In all, we think that the technical committee should be able to meet immediately to resume this work as soon as possible.
Major General Nketia says the two commissions will work together to ensure that their land, maritime and air boundaries are effectively secured and managed.
The cooperation has been very good. Togo, for instance, has transited from one leadership to another leadership while this has been going on. And the transition has been very good because the new leadership of the Land Boundary Commission of Togo have been very cooperative, just like the first one. And I think that the zeal and the exuberance that the new leadership has brought is even going to help us to accelerate the work that we're doing along the international boundary line. We were hoping that by the end of this year, we would have even reached up, we would have gone up to the northeast region of Ghana, in line with our objective that we were doing. But because of the suspension since April, we're hoping that we should be able to catch up with not less than 200 kilometers so that we would see what we can do and continue with this project. Otherwise, the funding that we're getting from GIZ, we may be losing it altogether because GIZ have provided funding for this year for both the reaffirmation and the construction of the place.
Togo's Minister of Territorial Administration, Decentralization, Security and Civil Protection, who spoke in French, applauded the two boundary commissions, urging them to continue to work harmoniously for the good of both countries.
Away from that, let's do some politics now. The national chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Asiedu Nketia, has debunked the perception that all political parties aim to clinch political power to loot the state to enrich its members. According to him, the NDC is different from the governing NPP as it portrays a culture of non-discriminating acts and harnessing the social and human development. He was speaking at a rally at Logba Alakpete in the Afajato South constituency of the Volta region.
The NDC national chairman, Asiedu Nketia, led a campaign in the Afajato South district aimed at obtaining all valid votes in the upcoming general elections on December 7, 2024. The constituency had been a traditional seat of the opposition party since 1992. Addressing the charged crowd, Mr. Asiedu objected to a public opinion that the NDC and NPP are envisioned to win power to steal state resources.
NDC believes that every Ghanaian is an equal citizen of the country without discrimination. You know that when NPP is in power, that is not the belief they work with. They work with principles that suggest that some Ghanaians are more Ghanaian than the others. We believe that the resources of this country belong to all of us and they must be deployed in projects and whatever that will be beneficial to all Ghanaians without discrimination. Whilst our opponent will be sharing money to individuals to influence them to vote to retain them in power.
The Afajato South NDC parliamentary candidate, Frank Efiye, implored the electorate to elect him to lead a new chapter of development in the area. The chief of Logba Alakpete, Togbe Aja Adiaku V, reaffirmed the area's affiliation with the NDC.
I believe that the NDC is the most attractive political party in the country, and the good works will pave the way for victory in the 2024 elections. This is very clear for all to see, but let's do this peacefully.
Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News.
Away from politics, the Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Brian Achampong, has disclosed that government has commenced the distribution of fertilizer and other farm inputs to farmers who were affected by this year's dry spell. He said 118,000 metric tons of fertilizers and 5,133 tons of seed would be distributed to about 800 smallholder farmers. Now, the minister's speech, which was read by the Deputy Minister for Agriculture, said farmers cropping under 2 acres and commercial farmers are beneficiaries of this package. He spoke at a town hall meeting organized by the Information Ministry held in Tamale.
The Tamale Town Hall meeting, organized by the Ministry of Information in collaboration with the Regional Coordinating Council, created a platform to account to the people of the region government's infrastructure project, social interventions, and also highlighted government achievements so far. It offered people the opportunity to also ask questions. Speaking at the event, Deputy Minister for Agriculture, Hadi Siferi, said commercial farmers would also benefit from the package.
We have since conducted an extensive audit and analysis of the situation and mobilized government resources, secure approval of Parliament, and support from the World Bank and the development partners. We have also secured grains and provided a food availability assurance audit, and we can assure the nation that our current food system is safe. 20,000 metric tons of fertilizer to commercial farmers nationwide. So it is not only smallholder farmers, commercial farmers stands to benefit.
Deputy Minister for Finance, Dr. Alex Ampabin, said 500 million have been approved to deal with the impact of the dry spell.
The ministry came out with an 8.2 million Ghana cedi budget. So the Ministry of Finance had to do a budget realignment, reallocating certain lines in order to accommodate for the contingency that faced us. We've also been able to get Parliament approval for 500 million from the contingency fund. In addition to this, we've also gotten the support of the the World Bank on a $150 million repurpose project. And there are other partners who are undertaking their own activity to support their own intervention, or working in other capacity with the ministry. The Ministry of Finance is working collaboratively with the Ministry of Agric in supporting our farmers, pegging an amount of around 1,000 Ghana cedi per hectare.
The Minister for Information, Fatima Abubakar, said she was excited to be in the region.
That is filled with so much joy. When I was informed that when we check the itinerary, we are supposed to come to Tamale, I said, this is homecoming for me. We know the disparity that we've experienced over a long period of time when it comes to developments.
Join News today. Share your thoughts and comments on our social media handles. We're Join News on TV. Up next is business, so stay tuned in.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Darrell Kwao. The African Continental Free Trade Area says it will commence the disbursement of its adjustment fund to Ghana and any other member state that wishes to take advantage of the gamut of financing options available under the initiative. The After Adjustment Fund was designed to provide short to medium-term financial support to state parties and eligible private sector projects that may be adversely affected by declining fiscal revenues as a result of tariff reductions and reduced competitiveness arising from the free trade. Now, Secretary General of AFTA, Wamkele Mene, at a news conference to herald the Biashara Africa Summit in Rwanda, told journalists that his outfit has raised $1 billion so far.
Early next year is where we expect that the disbursements will commence. We will wait for the board to tell us when they are ready. I believe it will be very early next year. $1 billion for a continent as big as ours is obviously not much, but it is a good start. We will not be able to boil an ocean from the very beginning. So we will have to mobilize more development finance institutions, more commercial banks to invest in the fund, particularly the credit pillar of the fund. And that's where I foresee that we will have success in mobilizing our private sector, commercial banks, private equity firms to invest in the fund. Ourselves, the AFCFTA Secretariat and Afrexim Bank will go on a roadshow to talk to investors across the continent to help them invest in the adjustment fund so that more and more countries can be eligible for the support that they need. The guided trade.
Chief Executive of LANE HR, Dr. Ellen Hagan, is entreating organizations to review standard operating procedures to enhance customer service delivery. According to her, businesses must prioritize customers' needs to ensure the continuity and growth of their ventures. She was speaking at the 3rd edition of the International Customer Service Summit.
The International Customer Service Summit brought together experts in the customer service industry to share best practices and strategies for delivering exceptional customer experiences aimed at addressing common challenges and gaps in the industry. Participants were urged to leverage digital tools to enhance service delivery. Delivering her address, keynote speaker Dr. Ellen Hagan encouraged businesses to evaluate their processes and make changes to prudently respond to the needs of customers.
We've all heard the saying, the customer is always right. But today, the question is not just about whether the customer is right. It's about whether we are building our systems to reflect that reality. Are we making the customer experience easy, seamless, and enjoyable? Or are we so focused on our own processes that we forget the most critical factor, the customer? In a world of increasing competition and shrinking patience, organizations that fail to prioritize the customer's experience are at risk of falling behind. But the good news is that the solutions to these challenges are within reach, and they start reviewing and refining it must start with reviewing and refining our internal processes, particularly through the development and consistent application of standard operating procedures, SOPs.
Convener of the summit and Chief Executive of Customer Service Africa, Ursula Wellington, called on businesses to invest into training their human resources to enhance the quality of service delivered to customers.
Some of the challenges within the industry that's is lack of empowered customer service professional, lack of customer-centric leadership, because leadership starts from the top. If we have leaders that are customer-centric, they're able to empower their team to do likewise. And we also have employees who are not empowered through training. We have teams that don't really understand the products and services that are being offered, and we believe that these thought-provoking messages or speeches from our speakers will empower the CEOs and managers and senior level management that are here for the 3rd edition to go back to their various organizations and industry and empower their team by leading by example.
International Customer Service Summit was themed Customer Experience, Perception versus Reality.
And that's it for this segment. More news after the break.
Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to the Showbiz segments with me, Jacqueline and Smart Yabua. Now let's see what's in Ghana. Music legend George Chera has revealed that he has not been celebrated enough in Ghana. Speaking to Joy News' Nicholas Eko-Yamwa, George stated that despite the enduring popularity of his hit song, more can be done to acknowledge his contributions to the music industry.
To be honest with you, I've not been celebrated enough. I started with most of the big guns, those we call the big guns now, and even some of them I started before them. But it looked like before you can be a big artist, you should start from abroad. And even if you start from Ghana, no matter what you do, Ghana Fonia Bruchri, they don't recognize you. So in my personal opinion, I've not been recognized enough. I've been underrated, really. Because you can even go online. What people do with Asukele after 20 years, I've been underrated, to be honest with you, yeah.
What do you think we can do as a country to celebrate, our music pioneers, just like you?
I think I have to go a little political. If you take a look at the other West African countries, I can cite Mali because I've been in Mali for some time. I've been in and out for a long time. The Malian government takes special interest in their music. But if you come to this country, it looks like governments don't show any interest in our music industry. And anytime you criticize them, they take it so personal. So I've decided to keep quiet. But I think the government should get involved because the culture of the people is seen in their music. Yeah.
Well, on that note, it's a wrap for the showbiz segments with me, Jacqueline and Sumaya Boa. Over to you, Faustina.
Thank you, Jacqueline, for bringing us showbiz. I remember those great tunes, and I'm looking forward to dancing with you later after the show. My name is Faustina Safa. For more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. Good afternoon.